So, you've decided your future's not important.
What?
Well, obviously you have, because you clearly have no concept of time.
Sorry.
Sorry? You fool! Don't you understand how important this is? Do you? Do you?
I do, I just don't know what to do.
The Subjects is about a Year 10 student who's going to his school to meet his careers counsellor to decide what subjects he's going to choose. When he gets there, he realises he kind of doesn't know what he's doing. So his careers counsellor magics him away to VCAR headquarters, where he meets the subjects, which are pretty much what I feel like the forefathers or personifications of some of the subjects offered in VCE. My idea for this film came from a Year 12 orientation meeting I had, where pretty much my teachers were just textbooks saying that Year 12 is the last chance you have to, be successful at school and you can't do Year 12 again and that kind of thing. And I just thought that was kind of untrue. And I wanted to show people that there are many things you can do when you're 16 to 18 years old, and it's not just VCE. The main director I was inspired by was Edgar Wright, who obviously did the Cornetto trilogy. I kind of felt like his style of film was really lend itself to this, to my film, and I wanted to create a film like his because I really enjoyed those techniques. I was also inspired by old top screen films, so I highly recommend people go back in time and watch old top screen films because you don't know what you're going to find. So the first thing I did when planning the subjects was write my screenplay, and I pretty much just went through and made a massive plan and wrote little lines for all the different subjects that I had and slowly culled them down to a 15-page script. And basically, so it started with the screenplay and then went on to things like casting. I think another thing was when I was planning was I wanted to have the most convenient cast possible because I knew that I pretty much wouldn't be having any help when I was in production. So I was trying to think of the best and easiest people to work with. Shot lists obviously is a huge thing. I hurt my hand last year and had surgery and I couldn't draw very well. So I actually couldn't do any storyboarding that was of legitimate help. So I really relied on my shot lists during filming. I also did a production schedule, so I knew how long I was going to be filming each day. And also with Toby, it was great that he was in Year 10 because he had a lot of time to reshoot and to shoot more and more, because I originally planned for the subjects scenes in that one room to be only filmed for 2 days. But in the end, it was probably about 4 days of 10-hour shoots. When I was planning, I was trying to think of the best places to shoot in the most convenient way for what I wanted to achieve. So when I was writing my film in pre-production, I was thinking about where the locations would be to be as convenient as possible for myself. Some things I ran into in production was the fact that I just ran out of time really fast and everything took a lot longer than I expected. So the long shot with all the subjects in it took me 2 hours to film because I had to keep the shot the same, but also have 18 costume changes with Toby, so it was very, very hard. So I decided to film in my school holidays because I thought that would be really smart and there would be no noise outside because no one would be there, but I was wrong. There was a man removing gum outside and he said he would be 20 minutes, but he lied. He was actually 2 hours. And so we were waiting and eating muesli bars and waiting to be able to do another shot. So just plan for things that you just can't control, because that's one of them. When I started post-production, I was really all about, and I always have been like this, I've always been about trying to see the full picture as soon as possible. And because I was silly and didn't log my footage, which you should, I had about 90 gigs of footage, which is about 9 hours of HD footage on my hard drive and computer, which one, made the computer very slow, and two, made rough cutting take well over 9 hours. So I highly recommend you log your footage so you don't have to go through what I went through, because it was a little bit painful. But yes, definitely rough cut before you make any detailed decisions, because it just gets you a little clearer and you just know exactly where everything is.
Archie, don't you remember what your mother told you before you started school?
What?
Mama, what's school like?
Well, honey, it's a place where you have fun and learn at separate times.
Separate?
Now, Archie, school is all about getting ready to be a grown-up like me. Can you do that?
Sure hope so.
Okay, so basically with all my music, I was mainly using royalty-free websites like freesfx.co.uk and freesound.org. For the credits, I wanted to use a song that had lyrics, So I talked to my friend from a band called the Diacos, and she said that I was able to use their song All in Good Time free of charge, just because we're friends. Melbourne bands really want to get their stuff out there, and especially if you can potentially promise that you'll get into Top Screen, which is seen by a couple thousand people, that's a big boost for some bands. So definitely try and get local bands to give you their music free of charge, because they're probably willing. Stop stressing about trying to think of some original, crazy idea, because every single idea has been taken before. That's just how it is. Sorry, it's not like the 1600s anymore. You know, Shakespeare's happened, get over it. But your interpretation will always be different. I'm sure there have been plenty of students who have thought of some crazy VCE film that mocks VCAR and is some crazy receptionist as well, and she's American for some reason and we don't really know why, but you know, that's all right. So don't be stressed about, oh, I'm exploring this theme and so I don't want to do this because it's already been done before, because maybe we haven't heard your side of the story and maybe we should. Fake it till you make it, because I started media in year 11 without really having made any film before that then. I didn't really know what I was doing. In year 11, we only had tape cameras at my school. So when I was making the subjects, I was using that camera for the first time, and I was using the track and the crane all for the first time. I mean, I had a lot of help, and that's great. Always ask for help. Your teachers are there for a reason. But I guess just think of the story first before anything else, because that's kind of why we're all there. I mean, if I didn't have my story, I probably wouldn't have continued editing my film, because it was 9 hours of raw footage and I wanted to scream. So if you've got the story there and it's still funny to at least one person, you're probably doing it right.